It is week 7 of the Blitz Zone. Hi, everybody. My name is Eric Rosen, and I'm coming to you live from the studios of CTV in Staten Island, New York. Yes, touchdown on yet another week of football, folks. This is going to be fun. Oh, my God. A lot of stuff to get to, but before we begin, I just want to give a note for last week. For those of you who were expecting to see me in the studio last Friday, I wasn't, unfortunately. I was in a play called The Laramie Project, playing two characters, Russell Henderson, Aaron McKinney. This was on the 20th anniversary of one of the most infamous murders that took place in U.S. history, the death of Matthew Shepard, who was a gay college student in Laramie, Wyoming. And the play, Laramie Project, the original play, was brought together by this theater company that interviewed the people in town around the time of the murder or during the trial for the murder of Matthew Shepard. The one that I did was the 10 years later version, which took place a decade after the trial and where people were after, what happened to people after the murder took place. So this time around, I played the two guys who were now currently serving consecutive life sentences. It was a really tough role to get into, but it was really rewarding, and I have to give a shout out to my people at the Staten Island Academy of Performing Arts for putting this production together last weekend. And we were able to raise some money for the Matthew Shepard Foundation, which helps combat which helps in the fight to make sure that hate crimes are down, to help the LGBTQ community in any way, shape, and form. It's a really great organization if you want to give to them as well. And I was just so proud to have completed this role and to see it come to fruition on stage. So that's why I wasn't here last week to do the show, but I'm back here for this week. On a programming note, next week is probably not happening because I'm going to be at the City Access Dinner Dance, which is next Friday, at the Staten Catering Hall on Forest Avenue. Great place, reasonably priced, good food right there, and I'm looking forward to that, and to helping City Access, which provides funds for people with disabilities and for the blind and or the visually impaired community. So it's really a great cause, and looking forward to that as well. And I want to give a special shout out to my friends at Seaview Playwrights. Tonight they begin their first of their 2 weeks of their 2-week run for the play The Last Days of Judas Iscariot. It's a play about the trial of Judas in purgatory, trying to recant taking any bribes from the Great Sanhedrin, which led to the betrayal of Jesus Christ. It's a really crazy story, trial that takes place, and you have Satan as one of the people calling up to the stand, and Caiaphas the elder, and Pontius Pilate. But the cast that's in this play are a lot of my friends and great actors who I've worked with in the past, and people who I wish one day that I get to work with, starring, of course, with Greg Kwasnicki, who's in the play, Anna Glenn Peaks, sorry if I got your last name wrong, but yeah, Anna Glenn Peaks, she's in the play. Charlie Sullivan, who's playing Satan, and Anna's actually playing Cunningham, and Craig is playing El Fayumi. And then you have John Patrick in the play, and of course Gary Bradley directing the play. Meredith is in the play as well, and Nikki Dos Santos, and Michael, just so many really incredibly talented actors. So if you get a chance, go see this production. It's at Seaview Playwrights on Braille Avenue in the Seaview Hospital Rehabilitation Campus. And you can go to brownpaperbacktickets.com, SVPT, or type on Google Last Days of Judas Iscariot for Seaview Playwrights. And I'm going to be going actually tomorrow for the 8 o'clock performance. So it's tonight and tomorrow, 8 o'clock, Sunday at 3 o'clock, and then the following Friday and Saturday at 8, and following Sunday at 3. And another shout out to my friends, Jack DeBalb and Rena Sklar DeBalb. who are part of the band, the Flesh Junkies. They will be performing next Saturday at the St. George Theater as a pre-show concert before the 11 o'clock showing of the Rocky Horror Picture Show, one of the best movies around. Let me tell you, probably one of the most well-done musicals ever, starring, of course, the legendary Tim Curry and in town. Oh, and on another programming note, and I forgot that I got to mention this before, my good friend, Mr. Jamie Hickson, is behind the camera tonight. Jamie, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. Much appreciated. And as you know, Jamie and I, we were co-hosts on in the bleachers and doing this, so it's great to be reunited for tonight. And he's also helped in the past with me, so he's a good friend. Thank you so much. Blessings and kindness to you and to your family as well. And so let's get into some football, because I know we got to talk football. So I'm going to get into some of the Week 5 scores because I wasn't here last week, so let me recap Week 5 for you quickly. Patriots played the Indianapolis Colts on Thursday night to begin Week 5, and Tom Brady got his 500th career touchdown pass, and he threw to his 71st different receiver, that is Josh Gordon. So congratulations, and they beat the Colts 34-28. The Jets trounced the Denver Broncos 34-16. Isaiah Crowell went 219 yards on the ground, a career day for him, including a 70-yard touchdown to the left side with 3 key blocks from his receivers. The Lions beat the Packers 31-23. Mason Crosby missed not 1, not 2, but 5 field goals and an extra point. That's 16 points left on the board for Green Bay, and 2 lost fumbles by Aaron Rodgers, countered by 2 rushing touchdowns by LeGarrette Blount from 1 yard out for the Detroit Lions. Lions beat the Packers 31-23. Giants losing to the Panthers 33-31 on a game-winning 63-yard field goal by Graham Gano with just a second left on the clock. Down the middle with room to spare. Then you look at the Buffalo Bills. They defeated the Tennessee Titans 13-12. Stephen Hauschka with the game-winning 46-yard field goal as time expired. Let me get some water. Agua Fria. Needed it. Now, the Bills beat the Titans 13-12. Steelers defeat the Falcons 41-17. Antonio Brown with 2 second-half touchdowns from 9 and 47 yards out, and Ben Roethlisberger had 3 total on the day. So basically the Falcons' 3rd consecutive loss, and putting the Steelers at the time a game and a half behind in the AFC North. Now, Browns beat the Ravens 12-9 in overtime. Greg Joseph, the rookie, getting the game-winning 37-yard field goal with 21 seconds left. The Dolphins having a 17-point lead on the Bengals, letting it evaporate, giving up 27 unanswered points, including 2 defensive touchdowns by the Bengals, a 6-yard pick six by Michael Johnson, and a 19-yard fumble six by Sam Hubbard. Bengals beat the Dolphins 27-17, remain at that time in first place in the AFC North. Chiefs beat the Jaguars 30-14 to remain at 5-0. Blake Bortles committing 4 interceptions on the day, including a pick six, and getting sacked 5 times on the day. And in fact, Patrick Mahomes had his first 2 interceptions of the season, but still had a great performance passing-wise. Chargers beat the Raiders 26-10. 2 touchdowns by Phillip Rivers, including a 46-yard swing pass to Austin Eckler. Vikings beat the Eagles 23-21. Linval Joseph, 64-yard fumble 6 recovery, and 301 yards passing by Kirk Cousins. The Rams beat the Seahawks to remain undefeated at 5-0 at that time. Todd Gurley's 3 rushing touchdowns and the game-winning Cairo Santos field goal from 39 yards out with 6:05 to go in the game. Cardinals beat the 49ers for their first victory of the season. Josh Rosen, no relation, throws a 75-yard touchdown to fellow rookie Christian Kirk. And then the Texans beat the Cowboys in the Battle of Texas for the first time since 2002, winning 19-16 in overtime. Second straight victory in overtime. Ka'imi Fairbairn with the game-winning 36-yard field goal. 2 consecutive weeks, Ka'imi Fairbairn with his leg getting the victory. And the Saints beat the Redskins 43-19 on Monday Night Football. Congratulations, Drew Brees. You passed Peyton Manning for the all-time career passing yardage record, and he did that with a 62-yard touchdown pass to Traquan Smith, the rookie. And that's all the scores of Week 5 of the NFL season. Now, Let's get into some Week 6 scores. Man, when you talk that much football, you need some water. I know, that was a really bad pose. Never, ever do something like that. It's like a sleazy campaign commercial. Or a slogan. Anyway, I don't know where I was going with that, but let's get back to some football. 49ers beat the Packers 33. The Packers beat the 49ers 33-30. Mason Crosby gets the game-winning 27-yard field goal as time expires. And what precipitated that play was C.J. Beathard on the previous possession throws an unfortunate interception into the hands of Kevin King with about 1:07 to go. Aaron Rodgers takes the Packers down the field with several big key passes out of bounds, including some fade passes, setting up the game-winning field goal for Crosby from 27 yards out. And after Crosby missing 5 the previous week, he needed that in the worst way, as well as the Packers, and they go into the bye feeling better about where they are as a team and where it's going to go for the second half. Cardinals, Vikings. This one was not fun to watch. If you are a Cardinals fan, yikes. They gave up 6.1 yards per carry, and they gave up 155 yards to Latavius Murray, the running back, now star running back for the Vikings since Dalvin Cook's been out. Yeah, he had a career day on 24 carries and a touchdown on the day. And Kirk Cousins got in on the fun with an option-style run across the goal line in the third quarter. And the best part was Adam Thielen having 11 receptions of 123 yards, his 6th straight 100-yard game to start the season off. He's the first player since 1961 to go the first 6 games of the year with 100 yards receiving. And he has 58 catches in 6 weeks. He has the most in NFL history in that span. So congratulations to him, including that awesome seam route that seam route number he did on Josh Bynes for the touchdown with a stutter step. Vikings beat the Cardinals 27-17. Buccaneers, Falcons. Matt Ryan trying to end the bleeding for the Falcons, losing 3 straight. Well, they did. He had 3 touchdowns on the day, giving him 274 for his career, surpassing the 4-time Super Bowl champion Joe Montana for 16th on the all-time list, which I'm really shocked that he did that. But you know what? Great. Kudos to you, Matt Ryan. And also having a scramble on third and nine to set up the final scoring pass of his day. But the best part of the day was the fact that the Buccaneers did come back in the second half. They really were making a comeback. But here's the part that really hurt them the most. When they were at the Atlanta 1, he threw a deflected pass that was ricocheted into the air and grabbed by Bryant Poole, denying them a red zone scoring chance. So that really hurt the Buccaneers. And what also hurt them was Dan Quinn, the coach for the Falcons, decided to go for a 57-yard field goal instead of kicking the ball back to the Bucs. And Matt Bryant successfully making it 34-29, because at the time, the Falcons were leading 31-29. So anyway, it's 34-29. The Buccaneers have the ball. They're driving to the Atlanta 21. No timeouts left at all. So Winston gets the ball, goes up the middle, gets tackled at the 10, throws the ball towards Adam Humphries, the receiver, tries to go for the winning score. The ball is skipped to Mike Evans. Then he flungs it to Deshaun Jackson, who nearly goes in for the touchdown, but the ball goes out of bounds. And that's it. 1 yard shy. They lose 34-29, the Buccaneers, going into their bye. Actually, not going to their bye, but they probably wish they were going into their bye. But the Falcons ending a 3-game losing streak and in the hunt for the NFC South. Ravens visiting the Titans, and it was a bloody Sunday for Marcus Mariota. He didn't get sacked once, not twice, but 11 times. That is a near record. The record still is 12 for most time in a single game. My God, Marcus. He looked like a crash test dummy on a bad day. It was pitiful, to say the least. And the offense was so horrible, they had 107 total yards on the entire day. You really can tell when a team is crap when you have that kind of output. And then, to make matters worse, Alex Collins with 2 rushing touchdowns for the Buccaneers, and Joe Flacco throwing a touchdown as well. Yeah, to Michael Crabtree for a 4-yarder. Well, they lose 21-0. It was sad, really sad. If you're a Titans fan, and the fact is, they were 3-1 heading into Buffalo. They should have won these two games and been 5-1 in control of the AFC South. Now they're in a 3-way tie with the Texans and the Jaguars, all at 3-3. But because of the fact the Titans beat both the Texans and Jaguars, they hold the tiebreaker for now. And I'm saying that for now, considering where they're going this coming week 7. I'll get into that in a bit. Speaking of the Bills, after having a really stupid, very slow, bad victory against the Titans, 13-12. I mean, it was so pitiful to watch. I felt bad for the people in Orchard Park week 5 that had to watch that. Oh, my God. They probably were watching Netflix most of the time during that game. Anyway, they go to Houston. Houston, of course, 2-game winning streak. They're looking to get their first win in regulation in 3 weeks, and they do. Let's set it up for you. First score of the game, of course, Texans recover a fumble, and Watson connects with DeAndre Hopkins for a 7-yard touchdown. Then a 33-yard field goal by Kaimi Fairbairn makes a 10-0 go at the end of the first half. The second half begins. Lorenzo Alexander is able to take the defender for the Buffalo Bills, tips a Deshaun Watson pass at the line of scrimmage, intercepts it, and then the Bills try to take advantage of that. They get to the 8-yard line, but the offense stalled. They had to settle for a 22-yard field goal by Hauchka to make it 10-3. Then Hauchka added a 52-yarder, making it 10-6. Bills finally get their first lead of the day in the fourth quarter when Nathan Peterman, that's right, Nathan Interception Peterman gets a touchdown in the corner of the end zone to Zay Jones, second-year player of East Carolina, to make it 13-10. Of course, later on, Kaimi Fairbairn ties the game up with a 27-yard field goal with about 1:34 for the Texans. It's 13-all. So the Bills get the ball back. On the second play of this ensuing drive, Nathan Peterman steps into his throw, but he commits a cardinal sin. He looked at the receiver, a big no-no, and he unfortunately threw the ball into the hands of cornerback Jonathan Joseph, who goes 28 yards to the house for a game-winning pick six. Bills lose to the Texans 20-13. First victory for the Texans in regulation in this 3-week span. And for the Bills, just another week of the same. And Nathan Peterman, 3 touchdowns to 9 interceptions in his career so far. Panthers, Redskins. Redskins right now are looking to keep control of the NFC East, and they're going up against an opponent that they've been familiar with in the past, including one player who was familiarized with them, Josh Norman. Why do I say that? Because Josh Norman was a former cornerback for the Carolina Panthers, signed with the Redskins, and for the first time in 3 years, he got 2 massive turnovers, an interception off his former buddy Cameron Newton, and a fumble off of the rookie DJ Moore. By the way, that was DJ Moore had 2 lost fumbles, both in the first half. Very costly for the Panthers in this game. And Adrian Peterson for the Redskins had 97 yards on 17 carries for the game. Panthers lose to the Redskins 23-17. Bears, Dolphins. Chicago is coming off their bye week. The previous week, Trubisky had 6 touchdowns in one game against the Buccaneers before going to the bye. So you would think he would be able to carry that momentum into South Florida, and you have Adam Gase, the head coach of the Dolphins, going up against his former team, which he was the offensive coordinator for, the Chicago Bears. And of all people to come in for Ryan Tannehill for the Dolphins, Brock Osweiler. Let me say that again. Brock Osweiler. Who would have thought this guy would come in and lead the team from a 21-10 deficit, throwing 380 yards on the day and 3 touchdowns, including 2 big plays to Mr. Albert Wilson on a game-tying 75-yard score, and earlier on a 43-yard catch and run. Albert Wilson had 155 yards on the day, 143 of which were after the run on catch and run plays. Unbelievable. So it's 28 all. They go into OT. Jason Sanders, the rookie, gets the game-winning 47-yard field goal as time expires. Dolphins beat the Bears 31-28. Steelers, Bengals, big AFC North showdown. Always physical, always brawling rivalry between these two squads. And on the day, it was a great performance. At first, it looked like the Bengals, yet again. Now, I thought the Bengals were going to win this week. Last week, the Dolphins had a lead and they messed up. This week, the Bengals have the lead and they mess up. They became the Miami Dolphins week 6. And they allowed the Steelers to get the lead at 21. Get the lead at first at 21-14. But then Joe Mixon gets a 4-yard rushing touchdown with about a minute 18 to go to tie the game up. Then Antonio Brown on the ensuing possession takes a few strides, catches a pass. Justin Hunter with a big key block goes 31 yards for the game-winning touchdown. 28-21, Steelers beat the Bengals. Chargers go into Cleveland. Cleveland, every game they've played has been by one possession, 3 of which have gone to overtime, in which they've been 1-1-1. Yeah, the tie against the Steelers, the loss against the Saints, and the victory last week against the Ravens. So maybe this time they'll get a blowout victory. No, they get blown out and lose to Philip Rivers and the entire Chargers, 38-14, including Philip Rivers' 2 touchdown passes to rookie Tyrell Williams. And Tyrell only had 3 receptions on the day of 118 yards. But it was Melvin Gordon masterfully 3 rushing touchdowns on the day with 132 yards. Chargers are for real this year. Besides, the Chiefs, the Chargers really, it could be a contender this year in the AFC Conference. And speaking of pretenders, because it looked like earlier this year the Jacksonville Jaguars were the contenders, as a lot of people wanted to proclaim them to be, including beating New England at home. This is what they give us. Yes, they lost to Kansas City. That's understandable. Kansas City is a tough team to play against. They are. And so there was really no shame in them losing, even though they should have won that game. But I had a feeling Kansas City was going to win that game. Now, they are going into Dallas to take on the Cowboys, a team that can't even score, that can get to 20 points. The offensive outputting by the Cowboys for the most part this year has been dreadful, with the exception of one game up until this point. Well, the Cowboys really showed that they are not dead after all, that they are, in their fans' mind, America's team, and they showed it in true colors, beating the Jaguars 40-7. Dak Prescott, 11 carries for a career 82 rushing yards. And Cole Beasley looking like the second coming of Jerry Rice. With 2 big touchdowns on the day. Unbelievable. But Blake Bortles, yet again, throws an interception. And what really killed me was Prescott. There are times he did lose control of the ball twice. He did. He's got to work on that. Can't make costly mistakes like that. But thankfully, he didn't lose the fumbles. And what I loved was watching Rico Gaithers, the local guy who played basketball at Baylor, making a name for himself as a tight end for the Cowboys. They really are going to need a legit tight end going into the future. But they still won 47. It was a beating. It was a drubbing. It was inexcusable for Jaguars. This was a team that usually is one of the best defensively and fix it, especially Ramsey in the coming weeks. Now, the Rams, looking to stay undefeated, go to Mile High to take on a Denver Broncos team demoralized by the Jets, gashed for over 219 yards on the ground. Well, the gashing continued. This time, Todd Gurley had a career-high 208 yards on the ground on 28 carries and 2 touchdowns. 270 total rushing yards the Broncos gave up on defense. Case Keenum got a 1-yard dart touchdown to Demaryius Thomas with about a minute 22 to go, making it 23-20 Rams. McManus tries for the onside kick for the Broncos, and Robert Woods kicks the ball out of bounds. Rams kill the clock. They win 23-20 to remain undefeated. Kansas City going into New England on Sunday Night Football. One of the best, honest to God, best matches of the week. This was great offensive outputting, but terrible defense on both teams. Combined 83 points. It's like watching a college football game. Yeah, at times. A lot of the games in this day and age in the NFL are like watching a college football game, especially with the amount of points being scored and the amount of yards that cornerbacks are giving up. But then again, you look at the rules that are in play, and some of the cornerbacks will tell you it stifles our ability to defend, to stop the receivers from making plays. With all these rules and these interference calls, it stifles us. But at the same time, the NFL is trying to make sure that we don't have any concussions or major injuries and make it exciting. Well, anyway, Kansas City goes to New England. New England's got a 24-9 lead at the half. I mean, Tom Brady is still really rocking it as always, especially age 41. He's ageless. He is ageless. He's a bionic robot sent from time. I think Skynet created him. That's how good he is. He's the Terminator of NFL players. 304 yards and a touchdown, and he gets his 200th career victory, leading them to a 43-40 victory. But honestly, had the Chiefs had the ball last, they would have won. So it was really that type of game where anybody could have won. And the fact that the Chiefs came back in the second half, made it an intense match, but the fact is the Chiefs' defense is the problem. That's why the Chiefs' offense has to score 35-plus points a game to make up for the deficiencies of the Chiefs' defense. And they gave up 500 total yards. They gave up 31 first downs. And New England didn't even punt at all in this game and gave up 173 yards. So mistakes like that by the Chiefs have to be corrected. But the Patriots weren't any better, giving up 40 points like that in their defense. So it goes both ways. But at the end of the day, a win is a win is a win. Chiefs, Seahawks go into Remember that, Jamie? Yep. London, England. I know. One of the least favored games of the year. Even though it's great to see that the NFL is trying to have an international outreach, but you're trying to reach to places that don't care for the game as much as they do soccer. They're true football. But at least they're giving it somewhat of an effort. Though I can't say so much for the Raiders, who gave less of an effort, and they really did. Giving up 59 yards rushing to Chris Carson and an additional 43 to Rashad Penny. Two rookies right there for the Seahawks backfield. And unfortunately, Seth Roberts and Amari Cooper both had concussions on the day. Seahawks beat the Raiders 27-3, and Carr, hurt in the game too as well. And it's just now, is A.J. McCarron going to be starting at some point? Because I would not be shocked at some point that John Gruden pulls Derek Carr and puts McCarron in since they traded for him. Look out for that in the coming weeks. It's getting bad in Raider Nation, I'll tell you that much. Now, Colts, Jets. I was at this game with my friends Shane and Paulina. Congratulations on your engagement. Very happy for the two of you. And Matt, who is a longtime Packers fan who drove us to the game. Thank you as well for that. And his other, friend Robert, who was tailgating. We had steakums, which honestly, I 50-50 kind of gave me a bit of my stomach had a little issues. It was all right. Sorry to say that, my man, if you're listening to this. But the burgers were great. The dogs were great. And the skirt steak that we had, that Shane made, oh my God. And the beer and the wine. That's why I love football. Besides watching games, tailgating is probably one of the best experiences of any NFL game. I don't care what city you go to. Let's say you go to Green Bay. You can get unlimited beer for $15 and all the cheese curd that you want. You want to go get some barbecue, go to Texas, go to Houston, go to Dallas. You want to get some good Southwest flair, go to Arizona, go to California too as well. You want some great crab and all that, Baltimore right there. You want lobster or a breadbasket, New England. You want Chicago-style dogs, go to Chicago and get some deep dish pizza too. Love food. Anyway, Colts-Jets, final game to talk about this week. Oh, by the way, the Giants lost the Eagles on Thursday Night Football in embarrassing fashion. The offensive line really should be ashamed of itself. Saquon Barkley is really the only person that's doing anything good for this team. Otherwise, the rest of the team is pitiful to watch. So the Jets, and I got to witness the 1969 Super Bowl winning team at halftime. Seeing Joe Namath, and I had my number 12 jersey in the whiteout with the towel waving. And unfortunately, a fan spilled beer on me. But you know what? That's why we have dry cleaners. Anyway, the Jets had won the game 42-34. And Jason Myers gets a franchise record 7 field goals on the day. 21 points to the Jets he accounted for. Congratulations to you. And from 30, 48, 32, 37, 45. 37 and 45 yards out. So altogether, the Jets win 42-34. Congratulations. Now, that's all. But you got to give it up to Andrew Luck, who didn't get sacked at all and had 4 touchdowns. There were some key interceptions he threw that really killed them. And the defense, the secondary for the Colts really didn't do such a great job against Sam Darnold and company. Now that week 6 is over, let's go into week 7 with the games coming up. Before we begin, of course, the teams on the bye. Green Bay Packers right now feeling good about that victory on Monday night against the 49ers. This will give Rodgers some time to heal that leg that has been bothering him since week 1 Sunday night against the Bears. The Raiders right now have to really question what's going on with Derek Carr. Will he be all right to play when they return week 8, or is A.J. McCarron going to be the starter when they return? And is Amari Cooper still going to be with the Silver and Black, or is he trade bait? But they're going to want a first rounder for him. Let's see how that takes place. Seattle, is James Conner the final solution to their running issues? I think